All right. All right. Welcome. I'm Mary Langfield, and we're going to talk a little bit about energy leaks today. And if you are on the session live, do hashtag live. I'll be looking to see if there's any comments and hashtag replay if you're watching the replay and you have any thoughts that come up. But how many of you have been seeing a lot of this? How many of you are feeling like you're lacking energy, whether it's mental energy, whether it's emotional energy? Just if you can give me a little like emoji, yes, that's me. And then if you can state whether it's mental or if it's physical. Now, that piece can be really helpful for each and every one of us to pay attention to. Is it physical? Am I physically drained? Is it mental? Is it a combination of both? Is it emotional? We didn't talk about that, but that one plays a big role as well. And so there are a lot of different things. I love talking about energy. It's my favorite topic. And there are a lot of different ways for us to button up your energy so that you feel more vital, so that you feel useful, so that you feel like you have what you need to get through each and every day. And a lot of us just start to feel like, oh, I'm aging, so I lack energy. Or, it's a certain time of my life. And of course, I'm going to lack energy. If you have small kids, it can be really hard. But just because we're in a certain time in our lives, I still believe you could maybe have a little more energy than you do in that moment. And so we're going to talk about a couple ways that I think are really, really important when it comes to plugging your energy leaks. Now, if you are also interested in energy, if you have also been suffering with exhaustion, been suffering with burnout, been suffering with fatigue for any amount of time, you've probably been doing a lot of research online. You probably have a lot of information. And what I'm going to ask you to do is that information is so important, but at the same time, we want to sort of set it aside for a minute. Yes, we could start talking about sleep routines and sleep hygiene. Yes, we could talk about supplementation that you could be taking. Yes, we can talk about all of these things. And there are some really wonderful ways in which to help you get more energy. However, the first thing that I would say you want to make sure that you're doing above and beyond anything else. And remember, all of these tools that I'm really, really gung ho about are simple, but that doesn't always make them easy. Okay. But one way for you to plug some energy leaks is for you to stop wasting your precious time and energy on not trusting yourself. Most of you, and we can put this on a lot of different areas, but most of you, let's just think about indecision. A lot of people are indecisive. And a lot of people don't know what's the right answer. Should I do this or should I do that? Oh, I really don't know if I want to do this thing that I was invited to do. I don't think I want to do it, but I feel like I need to say yes. So when it comes to indecision, I really want you to actually allow yourself to just make a concrete decision. This sounds, again, so much easier said than done. But as you sit there and wobble, or I was listening to this philosopher I love to listen to, and he's like, as you're dithering, because this was a while ago, right? As you're dithering about, that is really wasting time and energy. So in order for you to gather your energy back to you, think of it as like it is dispersing all over because it has no place to be, has no place to go. And so we want to bring it back. Okay. It brings you into like a sovereign place. One of the biggest things that I am on about when it comes to working with my clients is helping them, like I say, own their magnificence or own their awesome. And part of that process is learning how to really trust yourself. And this plugs a huge energy leak that is happening in everyday life, whether it's in your relationships with your partner, relationships at your career, your job, relationships with your children, relationships with friends and family. we really want to make sure that you are not sitting about in indecision. I don't know what to do. Because that also pushes what our topic was last week, anxious thoughts, anxiety, and it pushes it up, 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 and up. So if you can start to bring awareness to what you really want and then follow that. Now that, again, easier said than done. And it requires not just for you to know what you want, but for you to instill boundaries. Boundaries can feel really scary if you haven't had them before, if you are a people pleaser. And many of us, we are. We love to people please. We love to make people happy. We want people, many of us are caretakers in some form or fashion. We love for people to feel good around us. And part of sometimes them feeling good is because we are doing something for them. And when we have to instill boundaries for ourselves, it can feel a little bit scary because it feels selfish, but you are not selfish. You are gathering your energy, you're gathering your strength, and then you'll be able to use that to direct it however you like. Maybe you haven't had the energy to exercise. Maybe you haven't had the energy to meal plan and you wanted to meal plan, or you want to be cooking more, or maybe you want to be spending more time with friends, but you just don't have the energy at the end of the week and you just sort of fade and start to hermit because you're exhausted. And so what we want to do is we want to gather that energy back, because it's just leaking when you're sitting in indecision and not making a choice. So again, if you are feeling like, okay, Mary, that sounds really nice, but I don't know exactly how to go about this. Yes, that can be true. But what I want you to think about when it comes to making decisions and feeling like that's a good decision, let's take it just a slight step further. What if you could not make any mistakes with your decisions? Most of the time, we're worried about making a mistake or looking like we don't know what we're doing or whatever, right? It comes to this little part of us inside of ourselves that we don't want to look like we don't know. And what I want you to think about is, if you make a decision, what if you trusted yourself enough that if it wasn't the right decision, you could always change your mind? You could always fix it. You could always redirect instead of having to make the perfect decision the first time. What if you let yourself off the hook? So if you can think about how much time and energy you hang out in indecision about different types of things you need to decide, and how much energy and how much effort and how much is weighing on you, not just even the losing of the energy, but the physical weight of all of this, how much energy might you actually have to be living your life and enjoying it? How much energy would you have that wouldn't be in the way? Sometimes it feels like things are in the way, roadblocks, you're stuck. How can I move forward? But it is our lack of decision making that will keep us stuck. It keeps us from our goals. It keeps us from what we really want to do. And sometimes we're like, but I don't know what I really want to do. And that's because you're having trouble at taking those first few steps to decide, right? So this is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about, where are the energy leaks in your life? Now, you don't have to keep them just to indecisions, but you might be able to create quite a list of, these are the things that are sort of outstanding, thinking about them sort of like tabs open on your computer. They're just sitting there. At some point, maybe I'll get to it, right? It's just this thing that's constantly running in the background using the battery, right? And so if you are unplugged for any amount of time and away, all the tabs, all the different applications that are running in the background, those are using energy as well. And at some point, we need to make the decision to close the app or to take whatever the next step is. Maybe we need to make a task list. Maybe we need to send an email. Maybe we were searching for a specific product that we need to buy, right? And complete the task. You have to make the decision to move forward, right? But if you just have all the tabs open all the time, which is like all of these decisions that need to be made, it can be really taxing on your mental, emotional health, as well as on your physical energy, which is where we notice it more often than not. Right. And then we use coping mechanisms to deal with the fact that we have lacking energy. Maybe we're guzzling a bunch of coffee. Maybe there are some other sort of caffeine related things that we like to drink. Maybe we drink a lot of soda. Maybe there's some other sort of beverage that's just, we just love it and it has caffeine and it gets us through the day. But then you're not in your actual energetic state. So you don't know exactly how much energy that you have. And so then when you do run it up into roadblocks, it can feel even more exhausting because you've been sort of running on fuel that isn't really fuel, right? Trying to think of another way to think of this, but in thinking about, we've got gasoline and then you also have that corn fuel. And we also have diesel, right? So we've got these different ways, and some are more efficient than others. So if we were to say that gasoline is like the best, we'll say, just for this example, and the other ones are less optimal, you're not going to get as much bang for your buck with those methods, even though they're options, right? This is me with all my caffeine and lack of sleep. This is me with, let's say, the lack of sleep and eating a bunch of candy and carbs just to make it through the day. But ultimately, it's not fueling me and I'm not feeling better and I'm not feeling energized in the way in which I'd like, right? So tell me, do you ever get trapped in indecision? I want you to kind of sit with it for a moment. And then if you get trapped in indecision in any way, what is that impact on you? Think of it from a lot of different angles. Physically, right? You could say, I'm tired. Sure. I could also feel like my shoulder, I feel tense and tight. I feel just depleted. I feel like I can't go on. I feel like people need more from me than I'm even capable. I'm not capable. So look at it from all the ways in which it's actually affecting you, because those are the different, we'll think of it as an energy leak, the indecision. Here are all the different decisions. And then within each decision, what is the ramification on how you're feeling, right? Oh, I feel like, gosh, why can't I just get this right? Why can't I do the thing? It splinters into a million different pieces, which again are energy leaks. So as you begin to, we'll go back to the very beginning, as you begin to just trust that when you make a decision, it's fine, it's right in that moment. You can trust yourself, and you can trust yourself enough to know that if you decided that this actually isn't working for me, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to redirect. But you've made the decision and you can allow it to be good enough. All right. So I would love for you to drop your questions in here. Again, I'd love to know whether you are on live or on the replay. What does this kick up for you? What do you think about when you think about energy leaks? This is just us scratching the surface a little bit. This is just one energy leak, right? That can splinter off into a lot of different directions. But imagine if we plug this leak, the capacity that you'll have, the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, right? The physical capacity. Imagine if you were able to feel like you were okay with your decisions on many levels. How would that affect your sleep? How would that affect your relationships, right? How would it affect work? Right? No, I made the decision to do this because I know what I'm doing in my job. I don't need to look at everyone else. I know. And you start to build more confidence. sustain that confidence. And actually, it starts to exude from you. So I know this seems like such a small little scratch the surface, tip of the iceberg kind of a thing that we could just diminish. But the impact on your overall energy levels, as well as the rest of your life, is massive. So I want to hear what you think about this topic. I want to hear what you think about my thoughts on making a decision and allowing yourself to trust it, and knowing that it's going to be okay. You can always change your mind. You can always redirect. You can always, if it turns out to be a big fat mess, you will clean it up. You can trust yourself. You are such an incredible person, an incredible being. You got it. Trust yourself. All right. That said, that wraps up today's little mini chat. We'll be checking in next week, going into another mini chat. So if you have any questions around, chronic stress, anxiety, around your physical symptoms that are keeping you from living the life that you want to be living, drop them either in the Joyful Feminist on this YouTube channel, or drop them on my, just let me know, because I'm going to be here trying to support you as you're navigating all of this. All right. Thank you so much for coming on with me, and we'll talk soon.